Is this the best movie we've watched?
I think this movie does a great job of showing like generational trauma.
It's in the middle.
Nate cannot read.
Which universe do you think was the main universe?
I think it's a question that like doesn't have an interesting answer.
Shut the fuck up! Sorry.
He's jumping. He's jumping.
Alpha Sam's coming out. Okay, yeah.
So
I've been recording this whole time.
Oh, okay.
this is all going in the video.
I don't want to say anything.
All right.
What an intro.
Obligatory mic bump.
Okay, so this week we did Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of this movie by now. I just wanted to open it by saying I found this article on IGN. And
someone else's opinion.
yeah, pretty much. I know IGN's a very credible news organization, so I can trust them. But according to them, this movie is the most awarded movie ever made. And this article was written before the Oscars happened.
More than Lord of the Rings? The most
Damn.
awarded
Yeah,
movie?
more than
That's
Lord of the
crazy.
Rings.
Did it?
And
I know it won
and
a
that's
ton.
taking into account only the awards that both of these movies were up for at the same time. So nothing added later. And this movie
What do you
had.
mean both?
Yeah, what do you mean both?
So like
Yeah, what's
over
the award?
time, more award shows have been added, and they just like would skew the numbers. So they
Okay.
cut those out. And
Got it.
this movie is the most awarded movie of all time. So I kind of just wanted to ask if you guys think it deserves that.
Yeah, I would say yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it depends. When you get into awards, it's kind of like a can of worms because
that
like,
is a
did
hard.
this have
Yeah.
did this have the best soundtrack? Did this have the best, whatever that like awards get pretty
soundtrack was pretty
specific.
incredible.
If it
But I
is-
mean, it
Yeah,
does
but like
so
best of
many
the
things.
year.
So many
Like, there's-
things. Well,
I will say I think this did deserve Best Picture. I think this was the best movie made that year. But when you get into the award shows, it's like, oh, did this have the best cinematography? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's
on a technical level. Like,
Cinematography wise, it was pretty high up there, in my opinion, coming from a photographer perspective.
if it's something that you feel like that like really stuck out to you and like really like was you felt like okay, like this deserves some kind of recognition, then yeah. But generally I don't really care too much about awards, but
Did it get any awards for like the editing of it? Cool.
I would have.
Special effects and stuff.
I was gonna look up the Oscars. That's what I was.
Did you know like? Well, I figured this is what Nick was gonna say, but I think it was like 7 to 10 people that did it all, didn't they?
I
Like
think it
on
was
their computer.
mainly the seven actors and
Yeah.
actresses.
It did
Well-
win the Oscar for Best Film Editing.
No, I mean like it was literally like the the FX or whatever. were
They
done
didn't
by,
hire out any editors or anything, by
Yeah.
the way, either. That was just people who they were on the team and learned how to do it on the fly.
Yeah,
Like,
I
they
think
were
they
just
just
looking it up as they went.
did it on their
It's
computers
crazy.
at home, which is insane. Like this
Yeah.
movie, like the amount of work that went in this movie, you could tell like immediately. It's crazy though they did that with that small of a crew because there's way bigger movies that do far worse.
Yeah, there's kind of like the I like the analogy that it's easier for one person to screw in a light bulb than 100. Like I think you can apply that to
Yeah.
a lot of shit. I don't know if video editing is exactly a 1-to-1. I imagine that's an incredibly hard thing to do.
I think it is a
especially
little. Yeah.
I think
It's very time consuming.
it's time consuming, absolutely. But also, it's probably a matter of like the work environment that was fostered during the production of this. I have a
Well,
feeling.
it also depends how much you want to do it. Like if they are enjoying it and really want to do it,
That's
Well,
what I
there's-
mean. Like they're not being
Well-
like there's no crunch.
you don't feel
know.
like you're forced there. It's like
In-
something you're
in
really
general-
passionate about.
Yeah, in general, like just the logistics of assigning work, like and all the hiccups that like, oh, I thought this person was assigned to this and this person was assigned to this and who's assigned to stitch those two things together. Like maybe you just tell one person, take your best shot at it, and like that actually might get better. I'm sure
Well,
it's a
then you
lot
also
more
get into
stressful,
the
but-
realm of
Oh, it's definitely
just
stressful.
the classic group project stuff where like someone's
Yeah.
gonna just slack,
Vary
of course,
anyway.
and
Yeah,
someone's
well-
gonna do like 70% of the work anyway.
Yeah, the
That's
Pareto
why a low
principle.
number.
Hey, they both share that Oscar. Proud.
Yeah, all share it.
Who was the smart one in the end when it did less work?
I
There we
will
go.
say I know Jamie Lee Curtis won Best Supporting Actress in this movie, and I didn't think she did bad. I thought she did good, like really
Yeah,
good.
it's
but
such like a weird
like-
role.
Role to win it on. Like she,
It feels
yeah.
like once a movie
But
starts
she
to
played
get
it
awards, they
well.
just start handing them out for like the
there's
other
a
things
snowball,
too.
yeah.
it's that and it's Jamie Lee Curtis. I think helps. Like it's fucking
Yeah.
That's a big
Because
ass.
I
actor.
feel like she was kind of my favorite character, at least
a
for the first
big-ass
half of the
actress.
movie.
I
actually
liked
And
her.
she
I like no
encapsulated the
hate.
Karen character. That's for
But
sure.
when you say like
the
best supporting
auditor of the
character,
year,
like
back to back.
I feel like there's roles that did a lot more. You know what I mean? Like,
I-
Hudson-
I'm
I thought she was
curious.
one of the best
Did the husband get any awards?
He won Best Supporting
Oh,
Actor.
well,
Okay.
Actor.
Yeah, yeah.
Nick,
That was
he
well
is
deserved.
he
I
is
wasn't
my
sure if he did or not.
he has the award of being my profile picture for this episode. So.
Yeah,
The biggest
that's a
award
John,
you
John
get.
award.
I
How do you
think.
say
I
his
think,
name? Is it Key or K?
I-
Hugh Kwan.
Am
I
unsure.
thought it was K.
good question.
Hwan. I think it was
K.
K.
Hwan.
Right?
Hey,
Something like
K.
that, yeah.
Hugh Kwan.
But
I don't
he-
want to say it wrong.
He
Yeah.
absolutely. We talked.
He would
I
love that,
mentioned-
John.
I mentioned like if it's something that you feel strongly about, that like you think that award should go to that person. He absolutely deserved
Oh,
whatever award
Yeah.
he won.
did
I
you see
think
all of
so.
his
100%.
speeches? Did you see all of his speeches when they won? It was so emotional. I mean,
I
all
saw
of their
it,
speeches
yeah.
were, but his specifically was really emotional.
Well,
like when
he-
he's talking about how he didn't think that there was like any place in Hollywood for him anymore, and now he won an Oscar.
I feel
Kinda
like
the
he's
same thing
very
with Brendan
fitting for his
Fra- like
character in
Brendan-
the movie.
Yeah, but then there's like Brendan Fraser who did like the same thing that year, this same year.
Yeah.
It's a great story to watch.
Didn't K. Hugh Kwan? Wasn't this his first movie since Indiana Jones, or like first movie since the 80s?
Really?
He worked on movies as a stunt coordinator and stuff. I'm pretty sure. I don't
Like
don't quote
first
me on that
acting?
specifically, but he would. Yeah, I don't know if he was actually.
I know he did take a long break from being
Yeah.
on camera.
Yeah.
I don't think he
First
did
back.
anything. So
Yeah,
it was
'cause I-
years for sure.
I remember watching. I watched the Oscars. Like I really
Oh,
don't
wait, he was in the
care about
Goonies.
award shows, but
That was
He was in the
before
Goonies,
though,
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Was it? I thought it was after. Maybe I'm. mixed
he
up.
yeah, dude, I remember that speech like very well. Like, because I think he talked about that. Like he was ready to just hang it up. He didn't even know if he could
Mhm.
be like a decent actor, and he turned out to be one of the best.
Dude, oh my god, did he?
Yeah,
He
Played
looked
like
just like
five
he did
different
when he was
roles
a
in this
kid.
movie alone. And he still has the same like personality as he did when he was a kid. He's still like super upbeat, just a happy-go-lucky guy.
A lot
Yeah,
like his
so-
character.
I was gonna say.
I
Just
mean,
like
when
in everything, everywhere, all at once.
In every
When I-
universe, he's a
when I woke
kind
up
and
this
positive
morning-
person.
When I woke up this morning, I thought I was gonna come on here with like the bold take and say like this is the best movie
Garbage.
we've watched on this
Oh.
podcast. But it seems like the energy
knew
of the
Chris would love
podcast is that that's not really that much of a hot take. Or
You know,
is it?
Chris, I did have to contend with that. Like I was thinking that same thing after I finished it and like had some time to ruminate on it. I was like, is this the best movie we've watched?
I
And
can't think of a better.
Well,
one.
I-
what other
that's
what
one
other
I've
ones have you
watched.
well, yeah, Nick's only got Nick got two frames of reference. But I don't know. My opinion. When we get to the end, I'll decide.
Like this
Yeah.
is like
Better
this
than
is the kind
Time
of
Warner.
movie.
Warner.
Second.
This
Dude,
this is on the
movie
Mount Rushmore.
amazing. It's probably the best comedy movie like ever made. Because I would say it's like
Dude.
mostly a comedy.
It's very
This
surprising.
is such a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to define.
I'd say comedy is at the forefront like most of the story. Like it's so
Yeah, but-
absurd and meant to be comical. I mean,
They
it's a
use
comedy
it in a
drama,
way,
but that's how
though,
all
where,
stories are.
They use it in a way where they're still able to get off like plenty of serious points while
Yeah, well,
still
that's
having
that's
that
just writing a
comedic
good
relief.
comedy.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't
No, I
say it's
agree,
mainly a
but-
comedy. I think it has comedy,
Yeah.
but
I think
I wouldn't even
most
call
of
this
the
a comedy.
Yeah, it's
Neither.
it
I
is
think most
comedic
of the
elements.
I would absolutely call this. I think it's unfair not to call it a comedy. I think that's just like the idea that a comedy can't be this well done. It is just that. It's just a comedy movie that's just that well done.
Are there any other ones that come off the top of your head that do it that way? That's the
That
only
do it
reason I think
that
of it and frame it
well.
like that.
No,
Dumb
I'd
and
have to,
Dumber,
I,
Dumb and
I
Dumber
need
2.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber 2.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I'd have to think about that. I can't really think off the top of my head.
Pixels, Jack and Jill.
Pixels,
The
Jack
emoji
Bedtime
movies.
Stories.
That's my
Grown-ups.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not something I could think of. The movie that good off the top of my head, probably
Well,
not.
You're Nick, you said like, it's got like comedic elements, but also uses those to elevate this much more serious kind of dramatic story. And that makes me think is I've actually seen the movie that the Daniels, as these directors are referred to. They're both first name
The
Daniel.
collective group known as the Daniels.
As known as formerly
just two
known
guys,
as
by the
the
way.
Daniels. Yeah, I had seen the movie that they did before this, called
But they did something before.
called Swiss Army Man, and it has
Oh, what? They did Swiss Army Man?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
with Paul Dano,
Daniel
who's been in-
Radcliffe.
yeah, Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano.
He's a dead body that
Yeah,
parts or
and
something.
like that movie, I honestly didn't really like very much, like because it's a similar kind of thing of this absurdist plot of because of TLDR.
insane.
Paul Dano is like lost in the middle of the woods, and he finds Daniel Radcliffe, who is like a dead body.
body.
He's a cadaver, but he can be manipulated into like any kind of tool, like a Swiss Army knife. And
yeah.
it's got a lot of like quirky like dialogue and jokes, and like ultimately I think at the end goal is like Paul Dano, like trying to get back with this girl that he had like dated in the past, and like the thing is that like it just didn't really work for me in that movie. This
But it
movie
works well in this one.
they absolutely improved upon
Killed it,
that
yeah.
concept in this movie and did it so
I think
much
they find
better.
it out. Like they learned like, okay, we went a little over the top with the last one, did a little too much.
Yeah.
Learn with better
Screw it
with
back.
experience.
I did want to ask you guys, because there's so many multiverse movies coming out recently. Do you guys have like multiverse fatigue from that, or do you think this one's just so different that it doesn't even?
I thought
it doesn't even
I
matter?
thought I would with this one. Because I really like didn't know, because I had wanted to see it in theaters, never got around to it, and I purposely kind of
Same.
avoided it because I knew there was a lot of buzz and a lot of like prestige around it
Mhm.
now with all the awards. And then when I like got to the part where they like mentioned the Alphaverse and all that, I was like,
The alpha.
I might have been a little apprehensive for a second, but
The Tate
no,
verse.
the Tate
They
verse,
did it well.
the Matrix. Their version of it I thought was really good and different enough.
I
Here's
think
what
they
think.
used
Super
it as a
original.
way to look at life, and like it
Yes.
wasn't just a random gimmick or anything like that. It was like actually important to the story.
I think people have superhero fatigue, and most of the superhero movies now are running out of ideas, and they're turning to the multiverse, and that's where the fatigue comes
Yeah,
from. I don't think the multiverse is. I think it's a symptom of the like awful superhero.
Yeah,
movies.
yeah. I think superhero movies use the multiverse to like whenever they
Yeah.
write themselves into
It's a
hole,
gimmick.
Not
they have to
Spider-Man,
use the
though.
multiverse to get themselves out.
Not
of it.
Spider-Man.
This was
Yeah.
important. to the
Unless it's
story.
into the Spider Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah,
it's
unless-
into
that's
the
you know,
Spider-Verse.
I've
one
never
movie, one movie that is a little bit similar to this in the sense that like the hero and the villain are like that. Nate, I don't know if you watched the Batman Crisis on Infinite Earths or Justice League Crisis on Infinite
Yeah.
Earths, where Batman fights Owlman. Did you not like? I saw a bunch of like lines that were very similar to when Batman has to fight Owlman, and he just wants to destroy everything.
In the end, yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm just gonna destroy it all.
Yeah.
I forgot about that movie too. You said that Owlman just wants to destroy it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he sees that as the only action that has any meaning.
Yeah,
And they do the
'cause nothing else
similar
matters.
like multiverse concept where if once you make an action, another universe is generated where you make the other action.
Yeah.
And that's how they explain the infinite Earths, which I kind of like, that there's, the universes are like compounding on each other because every choice you make, there's a universe that branches off where you
yeah,
didn't
it
make
makes
that
it
choice.
change.
Is that the butterfly effect? Is that what that is?
No.
You could kind
Um,
of argue it to that in a way. That'd be
It's
pushing
similar,
it.
but it's not. The butterfly effect, I think, specifically has to
It's
do with,
usually
like,
time travel.
yeah, like the past, changing the past.
Or there's the,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bullwhip effect, which is process improvement if you want to get your Six Sigma black belt.
What the fuck were we talking about before we started talking about this? Then I was like interested in the term
Uh,
like "ow, man," and I was like,
Like,
Dude, I had to get
uh,
my 80-minute animated DC movie reference in for the day.
"That is a good ass one, though."
Sam filled his quota.
I like that one, dude.
Cole had mentioned like multiverse fatigue and
Yeah.
generally speaking.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's really any multiverse fatigue. I kind of agree with Sam on
Yeah.
this. I think it's superhero movies that are like just trying to use it as a gimmick because that's the big movie right now, and I think it's still gonna stick around for a couple more years. But like most like gimmick or like what the
Right.
fad is in movies will like fade out soon enough, but
Yeah.
it'll last a couple
Well,
more years.
I think it also
And
helps too.
I'm not saying they're all bad or it's stupid, but it's just it's
no,
gonna
but
get
there's just some
unoriginal.
who
It's gonna
they
get
take that
unoriginal.
and make it their only idea in a
Yeah.
movie, you know, and try to make it carry the movie.
Well, it helps too. This is like a completely original concept too. Like, you know, instead of like a superhero, it's like a couple Chinese people, you know?
Yeah, it's a Chinese
it-
woman
it
that's
would
apparently
definitely
really
very
bad at
human
everything.
people that become superheroes in their own sense.
Though Waymond is like the best character in the movie. Oh man, I wanted to say like one of my favorite parts. Like, how could you not say this is a comedy? Whenever he's battling, he's doing like the fanny pack whip, and the lady's using the dog to fight her, and they clip it, and the dog just spikes out of the room. That's one of the funniest. I replayed that like 6 times. Right? It's
They
so-
did
Yeah.
not even try to make that dog look real.
I was
That
in
was good.
tears from that part.
No,
It was
I-
so
Yeah.
funny.
I've said in like other podcasts that like during action scenes in movies, I kind of tend to like zone out and not really pay attention. But in this movie, it was just so absurd, and it was like, what are they gonna do next?
It was
like,
really
Dude, when they
engaging.
when they were trying to
travel,
when they were
to,
trying
like,
to
get
put the
power
dildos
from.
in their butt.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
Comedy wise, that's the
That
best
guy
part.
power bombed that dildo.
From
That
the
was-
top- Rey Mysterio
when they
from the top
first
rope.
They first showed her trophies. I was like, those look like butt plugs. Like,
Oh, yeah.
haha.
I
Yeah,
thought that's
yeah.
what it was
Really-
supposed to. Like, what else could that possibly be?
No, 'cause
Like,
she-
It really,
She-
really came back around though. I couldn't believe
Actuary
it.
of the year.
She tells
or
them
Actuary of the month.
she tells
Yeah,
the
like, what-
family, like she points them out and she's like, you know, like you get these awards when you deal with a lot of bullshit. And like I kind of saw it as like
Oh,
She
she
has a
knew
sticker
it.
for her.
the award for her job is like fucking people over. So
Yeah, like
Yeah.
haha poop reference.
Yeah.
Like,
Or is it because she has a stick up her ass
that
Yeah.
too, yeah.
since she's such a
Dude,
meanie?
She wasn't even a meanie though. She gave him.
She was a
bunch of-
stickler.
Well, to be
At the
fair,
very
ass.
end,
Maybe
at the
not
very
mean.
end.
they really did give them like every opportunity they could the whole time. Like she
Yeah.
was never hard on them until they broke her arm. But like I would be pissed too.
Yeah.
So like
she
I
punched
can't
her in the
blame her.
face.
Yeah.
They squashed their
fucking
beef at
rocked
the
her.
end. She let her hit the Benjamin.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Benjamin. I was waiting for the Benjamin to come into it.
That did come out of nowhere. I remember it was like, oh wait, what? She
Hey,
Vegas?
Were her and Evelyn married in the hot dog?
In the, yeah, in the
universe?
Yeah.
hot, no,
I think so,
yeah, in
yeah.
the hot dog
Which-
universe. Dude, in the hot dog
I'm so
universe,
glad you brought that up.
you
Wow,
learn to
dude.
play piano with your feet. I just wanted to mention
Well,
that.
You learn
I
how
was-
to do everything with your feet.
I was gonna say, remember earlier in the movie when it's like you have to get up and tell her I love you, but say it like you mean it. There is literally a version of her that loved her. That's
Yeah.
why she could do that.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool that came back around.
hmm
Like that actually was within her to love her.
I think it also
Genuine.
gave her some perspective on like her daughter, like being gay, is like she
Oh, yeah,
lived
I
that
would-
life of
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even
Oh,
think
yeah.
about that.
Now that we're talking about that, I wanted to say one of the scenes that I thought was so sad. I don't remember specifically the first time I teared up watching this movie, but I believe it was the scene. Well, there was like a bunch of flashbacks of like moments she fucked up, and like there's a moment where you could clearly tell Joy told her she was gay. Oh, I felt so sad during that part because you could just tell she knew she like fucked it up by like getting
Evelyn was
upset
a
about
Who's
it.
bitch
that
in the
at?
beginning.
Do you don't
Who's
remember? So it's like
us
she's
in
having
the
like
beginning?
flashbacks of like moments through her life, like she like fucked
Mhm.
up. I think like when her dad let her go and stuff like that. And one of
Yeah.
them, she's like sitting in the car with her daughter.
Oh, towards the
But
end.
you
yeah.
could tell. You
Oh.
could tell. No,
Oh,
it
there's
showed
no
up early,
dialogue.
and then it showed. Yeah, it's just her like looking like, oh, you could tell what conversation just happened.
Oh.
She wasn't happy
Well, there
with how
was-
it went.
There was a conversation with her and Waymond where she says like, "I saw how great my life was without you. Like I shouldn't have
man.
married you or something like that."
Oh,
Nah,
dude,
nah,
that,
nah,
that,
yeah,
that
that's
hit
brutal.
hard.
No, that
was
whole,
brutal.
to quote the best part of the movie that I would have really liked to do laundries and taxes with you.
That's
I
the
cried.
best
That's
scene.
the other part I cried.
That's the
on.
best
I was
one, dude. That is,
crying.
that is the best thing. Like, that's the best part of this whole movie, and this movie is phenomenal.
Yeah, because
Oh my god, it's so good.
Because yeah, like she sees every version of him, like towards the end, and like in every instance, he's kind, patient, and it extends into like because I had heard a lot about like his character in particular as a really great example of just like a positive male figure in a movie, like
Mhm.
and absolutely like this is like. You know, we should all strive to be like Waymond, I think.
That's just the
Well,
most positive
I have to-
masculine guy.
I do have to say because I watched this movie in two parts. And in the first part, my sister asked me how I felt about him, and I said I was like, he's a bitch."
wiener.
I was like, I don't get why people like him, whatever. But then he turned it around in the end when he was like, my kindness is my strength. This is how I fight. This is,
I was gonna say he
Yeah.
just fought in
And
a
he-
different way.
There
he
was
flipped it on me. He got me. He was right. He's right.
he fucking got
I
my
do-
ass.
Yeah.
I do like that he says the line, he's like, when I'm being positive all the time, he's like, I'm not being naive. He's like, I know how shitty everything can be. He's like, I'm choosing to be positive. I thought that was like the best.
Mhm.
That,
Well,
that was
it-
like his-
It's like, because I loved how his perspective is in such like it counteracts Jobu Tabaki or whatever. Is that
Yeah.
how you say it?
Yeah.
Because like her
Jobu Tupaki.
Jobu Tupaki, like her perspective on like existence is that like it's all meaningless, and like now that she's seen everything, she just doesn't want anything at all, and we should all just walk into the void and just leave everything behind.
Yeah.
And the
Polar
universe is
opposites.
completely uncaring, and like to an extent, like she is right. Like the grand scheme of the universe is so vast, and we're so small, and like we can seem insignificant. And while the universe may be uncaring, you get a character like Wayman who comes along, and he cares,
Mhm.
and that's what matters.
It's
Actually,
the
take an easy
everything
way out.
bagel versus the googly eyes. It's like
The googly eyes are a cool image.
He puts his
throughout
little-
the whole movie.
yeah,
He puts a
his
little goof. He
googly
puts a
eyes.
little goof on it.
He
and then
takes the
it's way
clothes
better.
upstairs so they can be happy. Like he's such a he
Yeah.
just finds he finds meaning in like the dumbest
In
things
stupid
that like
things, yeah.
nobody gives a shit about. And yeah, it's like really
If I
cool.
know no one got me, I know Wayman got me.
The intro to this
even
movie is
better.
also really good. Like when it's just like it's like setting up their family and like the bullshit they're dealing with, for that holiday or whatever. I forget. It's Chinese New Year's, right?
Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
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 Sorry, but
I thought it was also. I thought it was like for their
Yeah,
the
it was.
grandpa
I
coming
think it was.
home.
It was Go-Go's
It was
like
Is it
arrival.
both?
I think it was both.
Go-Go fucking sucks. In like multiple
name
universes.
Go-Go?
He's
Oh, he's
terrible.
just-
Yeah.
Oh,
He's just
you know
an
what?
old
You just
fuck.
reminded me of something I wanted to say, Cole.
Then
before
you were like
fucking-
midpoint.
I don't give a fuck. Cole just brought me back to where I was that I forgot. But I wanted to say that Alpha Waymond, because I think they said in every universe he was a good guy. Alpha Waymond was kind of a dick. He fucking left. Remember, he was like, "All right, this isn't working out," and then just left. But he came back late when they figured out that it was the right person.
Yeah,
bro.
'cause
he was a bit of a dick.
I thought he was like testing.
That was
her.
the worst Waymond.
I thought he was
for
testing
sure.
to see if she could like handle, like verse jumping.
I thought he just left, and then
I think-
I
I
kind
don't
of with
think
Nate.
that,
I thought he
yeah.
was just a dick.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
he
don't-
just took the best answer. Like,
I
I mean,
think towards
it wasn't like a bad answer, but it was fucked up.
Towards the end of the movie, you kind of realize that like the good guys from the start, they're not really good. They
Yeah.
don't really know what they're doing. They're
Well, they were the
they're-
kind of people. It's like that other perspective where it's like, well, we keep it in order.
They're
Like,
what
you know what I
um,
mean?
They're what?
Miguel in the new
Who's
Spider-Man movie.
who's
Miguel,
the what's the main lady's name? I can't remember her
Evelyn.
name.
Evelyn.
They're almost like Evelyn's perception of her base husband. And then her base husband turns out to be like the non-naive optimist, where she kind of thinks that he is just going with the flow, very like unintelligent, just doing as he's told, and that's why she's like kind of doesn't like him. But it turns out like he's acting positive, non-naively or whatever. Yeah, no, I think I just like the how at the end the good guys or whatever really weren't like smart. They were just kind of doing it almost because like maybe out of necessity because that lady was trying to destroy everything, but
Well,
like they
I
didn't have
wouldn't
a
call it-
reason behind their actions.
I wouldn't call it not smart. I'd call it they were definitely like frightened. Like they were kind of reacting out
Yeah.
of fear. You know what I mean?
Misled.
Like, yeah, like definitely. I don't think it's that they weren't intelligent. Like it seems like an intelligent option. Like that's what the
Well, that
argument
That
would
was
be.
almost their only option.
Yeah.
lady, the daughter, she didn't even want to kill everybody, right?
Yeah.
She just wanted to find her mom and
Jo-
then go into the void.
Well,
Jo-
she only
Jobu
wanted to kill
Tupaki
herself. but
Wasn't
they were
even
worried-
necessarily a villain. Is the
I think she only
Yeah.
wanted to kill herself, right?
He
But
did
with-
kill a
She
bunch
wanted to
of
find her
people, though.
mom and show her.
only
Remember she says at
only
the end?
bad people. Cole.
Yeah, but it's a
we
multiverse.
can't
Who
ignore
cares?
the amount of people she killed.
Yeah,
A couple of police officers just cuz.
Well, I mean,
Not
okay,
the
she's not wrong
police.
there.
Remember at the very end, when she shows her mom the bagel because she's like that's her last hope for her mom to find any meaning.
any meeting, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a very very sad part.
I think that's one of my favorite parts of this movie is that like it's this woman like this girl's trying to like destroy the universe, but she goes back to her mom to try to like find an answer one last time. And I think that's why I think that part where I said like where it's like she clearly came out to her is like such a good part, because it's kind of the whole story is like she tries to come to the mom, but the mom won't, like, I don't want to use the word like open up, but like isn't like understanding of her problems.
Yeah.
You know, like
Very traditional.
yeah, like won't try to adjust. Is
Yeah,
very
she's-
rigid about it.
she treats it more as like childish and like mistaken, not even really like hostile towards it, but like,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
don't know. Like you just don't know.
Yeah.
I think this
Yeah.
movie does a great job of showing like generational trauma. Like I felt like the mom spent her whole life trying to like appease what her dad wanted, and her dad obviously had like different values that, like, you know,
Her dad was a
really
real
want-
dick. All right.
yeah, he was a dick basically, and
Great
I think
actor,
that
though.
led
Love
into
that guy.
how she raised her daughter.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole point with all of that, and I mean like it's definitely a different cultural experience. Like we experience, like I think, well, everyone in here is not, I think, but everyone in here is white, so like we don't really experience the same growing up as like an Asian or a Chinese kid would, you know. Like they're gonna have different culture and different traditions than us, so different expectations, you know. That's interesting to see in a movie too. That's just like a cool perspective to see.
Did you see what the
Shit on
doctor
him.
said to the dad whenever Evelyn was born? Doctor says, "I'm sorry, it's a
Yeah.
girl." Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
always
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry,
that's-
it's a
I
girl.
didn't notice that.
Well,
That's
she would have
crazy.
been born in the one child policy era of China, right? Is that? am
I
right
have
about
yeah.
no
that?
fucking
Yeah.
clue. I know they do that, but I didn't
Yeah.
know like what eras that was in.
That's yeah, dude. That was actually kind of fucked up, because a lot of parents would like abandon the women
Oh,
babies.
God,
The
yeah.
daughters, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Which now, it just interestingly enough, in China, there is so many single men who are like in their like 40s, because
Yeah,
there literally just
isn't
weren't
there
any
Just
women.
isn't enough
Yeah.
women.
Women to the
in-
men now too.
so-
Like a huge
yeah.
shortage.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Weird to put
but-
it in those terms, but
I mean,
That kind of blew up in their face, to be honest.
what's
It
your
didn't work
bitch to
out.
GDP ratio? Bitches per capita.
The true test of nation.
No, but yeah, no, I forgot about that scene, Chris. That's a good catch. I remember like thinking that, because it was real quick. Like that shot
I'm
might have been
sorry.
like half a second. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I missed a lot. Like, because I was like
No,
barely.
there's so much to see
barely
on
got
another
that.
rewatch, because there's so much going on in this movie at all
Yeah.
times.
yeah,
Gotta
and
watch
there's
it, like,
so many
again.
scenes with quick cuts going back and forth to different time frames. You know, yeah, it's easy to miss stuff.
I will say, like halfway through this movie, I was kind of not feeling it, because I thought it's redeemed definitely in the end because of how it ends and how it plays off of everything it's set up. But
Mhm.
I thought it was kind of going to end like a Rick and Morty episode, where they would just kind of like pessimistically accept nothing matters, and then Evelyn would leave her husband, and that would be the end of the movie. I thought that they were going to like have like, you know, they were going to have that be the way the movie ends. And then
Optimism,
dude,
baby.
They got me, bro. They got me in the end.
They set me up.
Got you good.
There was a couple times I was like, "Holy shit, this movie's still going," but it always paid off. Like it was kind of like The Good, the
Yeah.
Bad, and the Ugly. Remember, we were like, "Oh man, this movie's still fucking going." But like, it's
They
good.
have the balls to legitimately set stuff up, because like
Yeah.
I think a lot of movies will kind of like always be
Half-assed
like,
things
oh, don't worry,
anymore.
there's still like, we kind of mean this, but we kind of don't. Like this movie legitimately, like, you know,
Ooh.
I really thought the ending was gonna be just like all like straight doomer moded.
When they do that like fake ending halfway through, like when she
Yeah.
like passes out, I could see people watching it in the theaters for the first time falling. for
Yeah,
that.
you're
Like,
right.
I could actually
No.
see that.
I
The
watched
end's
it.
good.
I watched it. I remember being like, "All right, that's a fake ending." Like I remember.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
like you're watching it on like a service.
You
or
can see there's
whatever.
like an hour
No,
left.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
watching it. in
No,
theaters.
that
Yeah,
was
whether
like,
you are just subconsciously
I
realizing
saw-
that or not, but
that was
I
like
saw it in
70 minutes into
theaters.
the movie.
I was obviously
That was,
like, yeah,
that was an hour and a half in.
Oh, was it really?
I checked.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, I was 20 minutes off. That's not that much.
yeah. Go fuck
I mean,
yourself, Cole.
I mean, that's a
Nah.
normal movie length. An hour and a
Yeah,
half.
well, that
Yo,
was.
it's a
not
short
anymore.
movie
nowadays.
length.
That is
Yeah,
no,
not
that
anymore.
is feature length. No, Cole's right.
2
I don't mind a
hours,
90-minute
average
movie.
now.
I like
I
longer movies.
appreciate
but I don't-
getting in and out of my movie theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can-
Did Nate, you brought up the actor for the grandpa. Did he also do Poe's dad in Kung Fu
Yeah.
Panda?
He also,
I heard the cadence every once in a while. And I was
was
like,
in
wait a
Tall
minute.
Victory. He was
He's
so
alright.
funny in this movie too, though. Like the
I
scene
liked
with
him,
the-
yeah.
Like when he's zooming around on the fucking wheelchair. I thought that was so funny.
Dude, who does he truck when he hits that lady?
Joe
Oh,
Jojo Tabuki.
Tupaki.
It looks so absurd. That was so good.
Well, yeah, because like obviously there's a lot of like digital stuff, but like there's also like a lot of like edited but like practical stuff
Bro,
in this
the
movie.
CGI looks sick though in this movie. Like it actually looks really good. Like the scenes where they're like she's like breaking between universes, like actually
Yeah.
looked really good.
What was your guys' favorite like side universe that they went to?
Oh,
Rocky-
I'm so happy you asked that.
Rock
Whatever
universe.
she had
Universe.
the
Yeah.
pinky finger, like the
Yeah.
super strong pinky, I thought was so
Mm.
funny.
Rakakuni.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah,
Oh,
Rakakuni. Rakakuni's
Rakakuni.
number one. I take it back. I forgot about Rakakuni.
Yeah.
Rakakuni's
Universe is
my
kind of a
favorite.
cop-out.
A great setup and great finish to the joke. Like they just mentioned that like halfway,
In
like 30
passing.
minutes in, and then it comes up later, and it's like a crucial part to the movie.
Mhm.
They misnamed it Rakakuni, and they just went with it.
Why do you think they had to do something weird to like travel to a different dimension
It was,
or get the
um,
powers? from a
Wasn't it
different dimension?
supposed to get you closer
did
to
they
that
say?
universe somehow?
It had to do with because like
Rubber banded you or something.
every time that like a new universe like is like a deviation from like the action you take, and they say that like those weird actions are like statistical improbabilities. Like it's like pretty improbable
Yeah.
that you would pull out your chapstick and start eating it, or
Yeah.
Mhm.
eat like gum underneath it.
Yeah, I thought it
Yeah, I
got
desk.
thought yeah. I figured it had something to do with like free will and
They explained
you
it.
could just do anything.
Yeah,
It brings
Yeah.
you to, like a timeline for. I thought it was like a slingshot, wasn't it? Like it brings you far away,
Yeah,
so
it was-
that they could shoot you to that timeline or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
it was something
Gotcha,
like that. Like
gotcha.
if they
It's
would
like
have,
the
I know they
opposite
didn't say
timeline.
this. I know they didn't say that like there was any energy involved, but it almost seemed like splitting a universe could like exerts a certain amount of energy, and they can harness it. But the farther away you split, the farther away you can go.
Yeah, then that
Something
they,
like that.
They
And then it
explain it like a
would
slingshot.
calculate the
didn't they?
action.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would like calculate the action that would be like
I will
the equal
say
and opposite.
that was like my biggest complaint.
Oh,
Not
I liked
understanding.
that, dude.
I
It was
liked
awesome.
it.
of what
That was
the
awesome.
the
I
weird
liked
the
some
weird
of them,
action.
and then I didn't like some of them. Like it was hit or miss. You know,
No,
it
I
was
just-
whatever ones you liked.
I just didn't like how convoluted the like mechanics behind going to the different universes was.
That
And,
wasn't
like,
convoluted at all.
I feel like yeah, it was,
Do
It
something
was just
good.
hard to follow like what
Be
so
quirky.
you go to another universe and you take over someone's consciousness and then you somehow learn
No,
what
that-
they know.
that is
but
you.
then
That's you.
where does
That's
their
not-
consciousness go?
She's everywhere. Wait, what is it? Everywhere.
Everything.
everything
everything-
everywhere.
Everyone
Yeah.
all at once.
She
Yeah,
is
but that's
everywhere
not how
all
it
at
works
once.
for everyone, though.
No, Cole might be right because the fanny pack guy is like, oh,
It's
that was a
just-
short elevator ride, and like, oh, is this?
Well,
Yeah,
It
like he's
gives you
completely
memories.
oblivious to it.
Yeah.
Like he even says in the elevator, like,
Well,
whenever my
Yeah, because
this
Alpha,
dimension comes back, like I'm not gonna remember anything, etc., etc.
Even though like in the other, because this is kind of a complaint of mine a little bit, is like the other versions of like Evelyn, for example, like one was like a like a singer, one was like a hibachi.
It was all
Chef.
things she tried to do. By
Yeah,
the way,
but, like-
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
it was all
But
the
those
receipts
were all
at the beginning.
those were all
Mhm.
like fairly
like
like
the karaoke machine.
mundane kind of things, but like they automatically made her like good at fighting in like her universe. So
John, you're
in
spoiling
the
it.
universe where she trained like
No,
martial
she
arts.
she
I'm
needed
confused.
good. She needed to be a good singer to hold her lungs. Remember, that's not why she went to that.
Yeah, that's what it
universe.
was.
yeah,
Yeah, she went
Yeah,
to
the
the fighting
fighting-
universe.
The fighting was a
Yeah.
martial arts expert.
Yeah,
Thing.
Well,
Yeah.
she learned,
And then
what
she
was it,
mastered
kung
her
fu.
pinky. Then she mastered her pinky or something and made it super strong. And I thought that was
And
really
then-
funny.
Another
I
problem,
wish she would have been a
She-
collegiate wrestler and not a kung fu guy.
Yeah. But does she keep all of those skills that she gets from all of those universes forever? Or do
that
Yeah.
no, because
because
I
it
think-
seemed like
No,
it
it had
went
a
away.
certain time.
no,
No, it didn't have a time limit. I thought.
no,
I thought she just,
initially it had like a time limit, like that you could only take that power for a little bit of time. But she like
But once she was everywhere all at
Yeah,
once.
she
I
broke
think
her. She
yeah.
broke her mind at that one point, and then was able to utilize everything all at once.
Oh, okay. I didn't think there was like a time limit. I thought you just couldn't handle so much at once.
Or that might
or
that might
something
be
like
it too.
I felt like once you came back to the real world for a certain amount of time, like it just went away. But I don't know.
See, that's something. There is things that you just kind of blow off in this movie. That's just gonna happen. That's
I think they made an attempt to explain it.
explained.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it wasn't explained at all, but there's definitely some holes in it. Like I don't think they cared to make it perfectly make sense. Like, I don't think it.
Yeah, it
makes
doesn't matter.
Sense. Yeah, it's not important. I'm not saying you can't try to figure it out, but I think that's their approach. We'll give them some answers, but the rest is up to you at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta
there's
leave
logic
some for people
behind
to
it.
talk about.
Yeah.
Buzz.
But
I'm not like I said. There's like reasons, but they don't worry too much about the specifics of it because you shouldn't because there's no answer. You don't fucking know. Yeah, everyone's gonna call you out anyway in like 10 years when they're like, "That's not actually how it works." Once we're in the other dimensions. But there was one scene I thought I really wasn't gonna like when I watched this in theaters. It was the rock scene, bro. At first I was like, oh my god, now I gotta read the fucking
That's the
screen.
best part.
And I thought it was good. Yeah, but I didn't like it was so much already, and we're like fucking 2.5 hours in. I'm like, alright, now I gotta read. Like,
How much
what-
subtitled anime do you watch?
what the
every
fuck?
day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch 2.5 hours of it. And then
It wasn't 2.5 hours.
that movie, it was like 2.5 hours into the movie. It was right at the end.
No, it's
It
in
was like the last 5 minutes.
That's in the
Nate
middle.
cannot read.
I think that's the takeaway here is they just can't
I
read.
think so.
Reading
Dude,
just
I
burns
don't
so
know.
much
I was
energy that it's,
pretty
like, hard
pissed
for
by
anything.
that. It was like at the end of the movie. I remember that, and I was like, oh my god, like we're fucking doing this now.
We're in the
Like, it was
illiterate
very
universe.
They
There's
can't
no
was-
need.
talk.
There was way too much going on. Yeah, why can't they talk, Nick? They could have just spoke, but it was funny. I'll give it. It was a good gag.
I
And
liked
it
it.
was
There
actually
was
a good scene.
there was the one gag that I think worked better in text when she was like running after her and she goes, "Get back here!" Like
Yeah.
that actually made me laugh.
No,
It was, like,
I
all
said
caps.
I ended up liking it.
I know,
thought
I was
I
gonna
wasn't
say.
gonna.
When she
Everyone
turned
jumped
to her
down Nate's
daughter with
throat
the
when he said-
googly eyes, when she turned to her daughter with the googly eyes, you're telling
Yeah.
me you didn't cry a little
Chris,
bit, Nate?
you just
It was
forgot.
great.
No, I didn't cry.
I
But I
could
thought it
just-
was hilarious.
I could just picture Nate in the theater every time text comes on screen, just covering his eyes.
No.
It burns.
Subway Surfer coming out.
Yeah.
I actually can't believe no one agrees with me on that because Cole was like, bro, fucking good, the bad, and
Nate-
ugly. They ended up on the Union war battlefield. And
This
it's like,
is-
that was a
okay.
good scene.
That movie was way more drawn out and unnecessarily long. This
Well,
one, I
that
felt
was
like
the
it filled
extended
the
version
space.
of that movie. That was
Yeah,
not
and I
the
also
theatrical
This
wouldn't
movie
cut.
is
say-
supposed to be absurd. It's supposed to like go different places and just do
Yeah.
crazy shit.
But I was just like, it was pretty fucking far into the movie, and I thought it was gonna just be like, oh my god, like I was like ready to. I didn't think it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna continue to be good at that point. I was like, all right, maybe they're dragging it on now, but it wasn't. It was good. That was the whole point of what I said.
Nate did preface it, and everyone just started jumping
Yeah,
on
everyone
it.
was just like, you didn't like it. I
He
liked
deserved
it.
it.
Fundamentally, we
Nate
disagree.
changed his opinion when we started getting
We
upset.
we recorded
He
it.
changed,
We know
he
that I
changed
said-
his old opinion from the first
I
time.
got
It's all on the
Yeah.
recording, Nate.
I got yelled at.
The different universe version of Nate.
John's
that
gonna
saw the
edit
movie.
me out saying that beforehand. So I know there was like a bunch of like theories going around when it came out. Like which universe do you think was the main universe? Like,
Alphaverse,
do you-
right?
There is no
No.
man.
Like which was the one the story actually took place in? Like, so there
The
was
one at
the
the
I-
start.
The
There's
main
the argument
the
that,
first
like,
one.
There, no, okay, let me explain it. It was like the idea that the red, like the one where they were actually at the Chinese New Year's party where she's wearing the red blouse and shit like that or whatever the red sweater it was.
That was
the sweater.
that was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, that is like, is that the main universe? Because there's like people.
That's what I thought.
You could kind of interpret it at the end as it was like all in her head, or whether it really happened or
Yeah.
not.
Actually, wait a minute. Now I gotta think about it because isn't that the like the one where they actually have the party? That's a deviation, right? Because
It's presented like that, but that doesn't. I don't think it ever says it was like. So that might have been the main universe that like somehow
Because
branched off of.
at least
we
the
don't
way-
know.
The main world become a deviation at some point too, though.
Well,
when she changes her
well, that's the
choices,
thing
you know?
is they're everywhere. So like that could be the universe. Like once she started
Nick,
transferring,
yeah,
it
I like
branched
that.
off. I don't know.
Like,
like-
once things started getting weird, there was no like
Yeah.
main one. Yeah.
Well, because at least the way I saw it was like that, like during like the inciting incident of like Alpha Wayman showing up, like it's a split where they go home and they like redo.
Oh,
their,
that's right. She does
their-
have like the choice.
Yeah, they go home and redo their tax information, and then the other universe is the one
She
that we
forgets to send
experience
it.
where they
Yeah.
fight inside the building and do all the crazy stuff. At least like that's the way I saw it. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what I was
think that
gonna
makes
say.
sense.
Some like people were. Well, it's kind of implied at the end that you could take it either way. It seems like everyone here takes it as it was real 100%. Like she went to all the different multiverses and shit like that. But like it's
I think it was
implied.
real
Like,
for the movie.
it could have been in her head.
Like if I watched a superhero movie, I would assume that
That
really is
literally
what
happened.
happened.
No, not fucking real life, Chris.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
Just
there was nothing to
wondering.
tell me I wasn't
Wait.
supposed to interpret that as real.
This one best documentary in the Oscars.
Yeah. They actually didn't have to do any CGI because it was all real.
Yeah,
They just
yes.
really, they
It
really
just
had hot
happened.
dog figures.
This
They
is just
had
found
hot dog
footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only struggle was getting the technology that could travel through the different dimension portals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. They had that like for years now, bro. They just didn't know.
No,
how to use
yeah, they were originally trying to film like a serious drama about like a struggling Chinese family,
This is
and
the
then
sequel to the Blair Witch.
this other person
just
showed
happened.
up. Yeah, this
It
just
just started
happened.
getting weird. Yeah.
It just started getting weird.
I don't even remember where we started. That we
Dude, I don't know. That's what I was trying to
You brought up your theory about like
I don't know whether it was real or not. I thought my theory. I just had seen people talk about that. I
Like-
thought that was like interesting
whether it's real.
for an argument on why it wasn't real. Like, cause it like. How does it end? I'm trying to fucking remember now. I don't know why this is like slipping my head. Cause isn't it like in her head she can like hear it still happening, or like you can hear the other universes?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
'cause she's
like-
still split for sure. Maybe that's,
That's
what
the
it's
thing. You
showing.
could take it as she's like actually still split between the universes, or she's just
Yeah.
fucking crazy. Like you could argue
Sure.
like she's just fucking insane.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I was trying to say like the whole time, and I didn't think I explained it well.
I think I'll
'Cause
take.
it's a movie. You know how like people come up with like those
Yeah,
theories. That's what I was
yeah.
just asking.
I think
Mhm.
I'll take it at the face value of like
I'd
this,
like to as well.
this is the same
like it
version
that
of
way
her that
too,
we've
but-
seen throughout the whole movie.
But that was just the where I heard of the idea of like the actual universe. And I didn't even think about that when I first watched it. Like that was that the one that they split off of? Like the the party again. I keep forgetting, and that's why she kept coming back to that because it does seem weird that was the other universe that became so important. Like that's where in like the scene where she's talking to her. Like if you think about it as like the rest is all in her head. Like that scene feels even less weird because she's just talking. Because it's so that seems so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain
I
outside
think
of
the
watching
absurdest part of
movie.
the movie explains the character motives. Like they're inherently linked, and it doesn't really matter if like she actually lived those events or not, because it was about like perspective and like, oh, I lived these other lives. Now I understand you better.
Because like
Yeah, I mean, well, that I'm not asking about that. Like I was asking, like, do you
'cause the
think
party-
I'm
Party-
saying never mind.
the party
Wait,
universe.
is the universe
I don't
that
like
we
this
end-
conversation.
Is the universe that we ended in the same one we started in the movie?
Yeah, that's
think
that's
what
what
I
Nate
was.
is
That's
asking.
the curious
Yeah,
question
and I think
got out
I
of
think
that.
it's a question that like doesn't have an interesting answer. Like
I think
genuinely,
that's-
there's
Well, wait,
no
if
answer
that's
there.
the question,
What do you mean by there's not an interesting answer?
I'm saying
The
your
weirdest thing
question-
I've ever heard. in
There
my
is-
life.
there
I'm
is
saying
no
your
chance for
question-
anything interesting to come out of this.
Yeah, exactly. There is no chance.
No, I
for,
disagree
for,
with
like any interesting perspective to be said about this.
Why not? Like I'm so
No,
confused. Like, because
Someone,
that's
someone
your
please
fault.
say something interesting. Go ahead.
I think because he's saying
Shut the fuck
we
up.
will,
Sorry.
we will never get a right or wrong answer. And
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Whether
It
or
doesn't
not
matter. Like, so every conversation we have to have a fucking right or
I
wrong
think,
answer.
no, I think this.
answer.
We can't talk about things.
I
Not
think-
everything
think
has
this
to
one
be
is
black
better.
and white, and I feel like that's kind of the part of the point of this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we could talk about that. Like, I'm so
Well,
confused
here, I
on
was-
why.
I had like a thing is like, so the deviation that happens, like where the party actually ends up happening, that to me, like, even though there's some like absurd things that happen where like, she kind of like stops caring and like, starts destroying the laundromat and like she signs the divorce papers. I still think even though like that happened, that's like the reality where that's the universe where like she actually like Evelyn like actually faces reality and like, you know, fixes her shit. So
yeah,
like
she said that. Yeah.
yeah. So
At the end of the day, I want to be here with you. Is what she said.
So like I think that universe is where we end. Like that's where the movie ends, is in that one. And like it was the movie, like the climax of the movie happens and is fixed in the separate universe where they're fighting inside like the IRS building.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that helped her with this universe where she chooses to stay in, which I don't like. And I was just asking if that was like the first universe they were in. Or
do they have a conversation, the daughter and the mom, at the very end, and she's like, "You could go anywhere, and you're choosing to stay here." That
Yes,
kind of
they
implied
do.
to me.
well, the conversation
And that's
itself
how I took it too, Sam.
is also worded like it could be her talking in real life, like she doesn't know anything about the multiverse shit. Like it's worded that way intentionally that you can
I know what
It's
you mean.
very
Yeah.
ambiguous.
yeah, it's intentionally ambiguous, so you could kind of perceive it either way. Like I mean, it's really more what you want to get out of it.
Yeah, I choose to believe that I think that they were both the multiversal versions of themselves, and they were having a self-aware conversation, like to each other, where they
I
like,
agree.
we both know, but we're not going to say anything to anyone else.
yeah.
But
Well, that's the thing too. At
Yeah.
the end, with the implication of like the voices in her head, like, so did she like turn it off, or is she still like experiencing all the universes and trying to just focus on one? And also, was that just like a setup for a sequel, or are they just doing that to make
I
you
think
think?
I
hope
think
it's
this
not a
movie
setup
gets
for a
a-
sequel.
I hope there's
it's
no
not a
sequel.
I would be so sad if there was a sequel. But no, I guess like in response to like, you know, the idea of like her still being everywhere all at once, I guess like it doesn't really like matter, because like she found like her peace, like she fixed all of her like family problems, and that was like why with Jobu Tupaki, like that's what messed her up, was like that she had this like underlying problem with her family, with her mom.
Mhm.
But like with Evelyn, like she figured everything out. So I guess like it doesn't really like there's no like pain, I think, anymore, like with being everywhere, because like even like the other versions of herself too seemingly have like also fixed their problems too, like
Well, yeah, I mean that's a question though too. Did they all experience that too? Like now they all have that. It seems like it because they do better too. But are they doing better because she's like in them or like controlling them, or
no, I think when she looks at the bagel, everybody like
sees it?
she's everyone. Yeah, that like
But
unifies.
that's why I'm asking. By the end, is she still everyone, or is she
I think
present now?
Yeah, I think so.
It seems like she's at least trying to be. You know what I mean? Like because with her hearing the voices in the end of like the other universes, like she's clearly still experiencing it somehow.
Yeah. I mean, I liked how there was kind of, this goes back to me thinking that the good guys in the beginning aren't really like, they're not necessarily correct, because they have the one scene where they right after she's like, he's like explaining to her after they do the one fight, they're hiding behind that desk and he eats the bagel. He says like, "Wow, you're the worst version. Like everybody else made better decisions than you." And at the end, she realizes that like is not correct at all. Like she's very happy with what she has. She just kind of had to notice it and appreciate the things, like her family and like those relationships.
yeah.
I really like that.
Mhm.
Very good.
I did want to say, like, imagine you're watching this movie, right? And you own a laundromat.
I don't
And
gotta
you're super proud of your laundromat that you own. But then you see this and they're just shitting on that life. And they're like, this is the worst case scenario for somebody to own a laundromat.
Going out of business.
It gets redeemed in the end.
I think she wasn't getting shit on because she owned the laundromat. I think she was getting shit on because she wasn't living life. She was like she was just completely focused on doing the laundry, doing the taxes.
Well,
you know,
I think they chose
parenting her daughter.
like a stereotypical like Asian like owned business on purpose. Like I think they did that obviously intentionally.
Is that a stereotypical Asian-owned business?
Yeah, absolutely. Like what do you
Yeah.
mean?
Chris, you can watch 2 episodes of
Any-
Family Guy. Guaranteed. Just
yeah.
pick 2 at random. You'll find
Chris,
one.
you'll
Have you ever
find-
heard of
you'll
Kim's
find-
Convenience?
Yeah. Well, it's like
There's
it's
a whole
not a
TV show
convenience
about
store, but-
this.
Yeah.
There's Oh, what was I gonna say? Fuck, I completely forgot where I was gonna go.
Well, in the
Something
universe,
was-
in the universe where like she became like a kung fu like movie star, and it's like I think it's in China, right? Like they're in China.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she stays.
in
Yeah.
China. That's that
Um,
storyline. Yeah.
I really like because the look of that. I noticed it, and then like I read a little bit, and it was like kind of confirmed that like that that universe and like the look of it and like the color grading has like that like green look to it, especially like when they're in the alleyway. A lot of that is inspired by like other like Chinese cinema, like specifically
Yeah.
like Wong Kar-wai, who's a prolific director. He's done several pretty
They use a lot of
notable
those
films.
greens and reds.
That and also like the really low shutter speed, so like it's like there's a ton of motion blur, like you could see it like whenever
Yeah,
they're
it
moving
looks.
around.
That's what the especially with the lights you see it a lot.
Yeah, that's
like
a
when they're
big
moving
thing
around.
in his style. So like I really appreciated that. Like
That's those scenes look amazing. That's
Yeah.
some part of the reason they're like the best scenes in the movie.
I'll recommend a
How goofy is
Chinese
it when
movie,
she stabs
like-
him though? I could name one for sure I'd recommend, but how goofy is it when she stabs him? I remember being like, because that scene was like so insane, like what was going on, and then all of a sudden she just has like a knife in his gut. And I remember in theaters being like, what? Like, why would she stab him? There was no benefit to that. She was the one guy helping her out, and she just fucking shanked him.
Yeah,
Was there a
well,
reason?
even he was surprised. He
I
was
can't-
like,
I can't remember why she
I'm
did
trying
that.
to think back. Like she just like she's going through all this shit, and then she just stabs him, and it's like, why?
Oh, was
Well,
that after they were like she realized they were trying to kill the daughter?
yeah.
It
I
was
think
they were
so.
all like
That might have been
surrounding her.
I think for a
Oh.
split second she gave up, and that she was just like, "Ah, fuck everything."
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like that,
Like
but
the
still, she
laundromat
just
stab
fucking
one.
stabbed fucking. Yeah, she was just doing whatever at that point. That's true, but she just stabs Wayman. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
He didn't do anything. He literally didn't do anything wrong. Protect
He's the
Raymond.
punching bag the whole movie. You know?
Dude, and then even after that, he's like, everybody stop. Stop, no
Just
fight.
being nice.
He's like dying. And like he's dead. Like Wayman in that universe is dead. That's why she
No,
left. Like it's actually like
no.
fucked up. They killed
he
fucking
bounced
Wayman. They never showed it, bro. He's dead.
No, it
as
was
fuck,
Wayman
I'm
Alpha.
telling
It
you.
was Wayman Alpha.
Yeah,
That
Alpha
was Wayman B. That was Wayman B.
This is
No, I thought it
Sigma
was
Waymond
Wayman Alpha.
in this
This is
universe.
why I
Yeah,
talked
Sigma
about
Way-
this.
Sigma Waymond.
They end up in the Chinese New Year universe. They fucking abandoned that one.
Well, I think
They
everybody
fucking-
was actually dead in that universe.
Yeah, they just all died. The bagel ate them all, but they
They,
left.
they
so who
pulled a
cares?
Rick and Morty and just left
Yeah.
the universe.
Yeah, they just abandoned it. They never like that's one of the things where it's like you just kind of blow it off. But like, what the fuck happened there? He did just get shanked and they left him go.
They probably fixed it. It's fine.
He's
Don't
alive.
worry about
He's
it.
alive in some universe. Come
Yeah,
on,
he's
now.
okay.
He's just a number. Of
Yeah,
She was like
lost in the
gentle
war.
with it. She was gentle. Like I'm
Yeah,
sure. Like,
she made sure to kill him quickly. They slit his throat after. It was quick.
well, that was the Wayman that gave like that emotional speech, right?
Yeah, he's dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's dead. This
I mean-
Wayman has no clue
That
about
was his death speech.
because he's not connected either. Remember, so he don't even remember. He don't even know that.
Now, best Wayman was I would have enjoyed doing laundry and taxes with you. That's
Yeah.
best
Dude,
Wayman.
that was the Sigma Waymond, of course.
Sigma.
Hey, no,
Waymond.
hey, every Waymond is Sigma Waymond, as far as I'm concerned.
He's just
The
misunderstood.
super Sigma male Waymond.
I will say underrated character is the lesbian girlfriend.
Yeah, Becky.
Can't remember her name at all.
Two
Becky.
scenes.
Yeah.
she is
Becky,
cute.
yeah.
Underrated
Cute little
character.
Well,
Pretty
it's-
charming.
Whatever that
She has
meme
some fun-
Cole sent was the funniest thing ever.
Interactions with the grandpa.
Yeah,
What did he
'cause- yeah, because like
What
even
did he say?
because it's an
Girlfriend?
extension of like even she's a lot like Waymond in that scene because like it's an extension of like even in the face of like even if he was
Well-
homophobic at all, which I don't think he even would be, or I don't know.
Because he goes,
Well, this
girlfriend?
is something.
Yeah.
This is something to bring up. Actually, is the similarities between Joy and No, I can't fucking remember. Evelyn. Fuck
Evelyn.
you. Sam did that to me. He made me forget. I blame him. But
dude, I was so bad with names.
they're actually like super similar people. Like they fuck up a lot. Like that's the thing. Like she's super hard on Joy for like starting things and not finishing them, and then it comes out later with the receipts that like she did that too. She's also would like get into hobbies and not finish it,
Yeah.
and that's why she's mad at her about it. And then And then there's a universe where she's literally gay, like, and she's mad at her daughter for being gay. So it's pretty obvious that like it's meant to parallel the two.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a little of her not wanting her daughter to grow
be like
up and
her?
make
No,
the same
'cause
mistake she did?
No, she sees herself as a failure because of her father,
Mhm.
so she doesn't want Joy to be like her. Like that's said in the movie. Like that is straight out. Like she does not want Joy to be like her because she sees herself as no matter what she did, she would see herself as a failure. That's like kind of the point.
That's her perspective 100% on it,
Yeah.
Chris, the mom's.
Mhm.
Sam's
That was a
camera's
nice
kind of
break.
fucking up. Well, I was like waiting because Sam's camera kind of went wild. I don't know if we should fix
Oh,
it.
yeah.
or-
Sam's in a different universe now.
yeah, Sam's entering another dimension.
He's jumping. He's jumping.
Alpha Sam's coming out.
The fuzzy universe.
The fuzzy universe.
All right, so do we want to start ratings?
Yeah.
Cool. I think you should go first since you picked.
Yes, I'm the cutest.
So you got the best
You're so
smile.
darn cute.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
I like the
Um,
self-confidence.
But yeah,
Cool, you should have your Shadow Man rate the movie too.
Oh, the Shadow
That
Man.
guy right
He's
there.
here.
Wait.
He's
Oh,
here.
yeah, what's up, dude? He made another Shadow Cole made another appearance.
yeah. I'm gonna give it a 9.5. And the only reason it's not a 10 is just kind of what I said before. I think the more you think about it, at least for me, the lore kind of just doesn't work in my head.
I don't
And-
think that's a big problem, at least for me.
Well, I mean, it's a 9.5. Like it's pretty
pretty
good.
solid.
Yeah, that's like but like that's like the most
Should've been a
annoying
9.6.
rating you could give something.
I gave 1917 like a 9.8.
They just missed. That's
Yeah.
what he's trying to say.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so much to like. The music is so good. We didn't even talk about that.
Oh shit, we didn't talk
They were
about
just
it.
so creative all
Yeah,
throughout.
the piano. Piano was great.
Yeah. They just defied expectations all the way through. So yeah, it was a really fun movie. So, yeah, 9.5.
If this isn't a 10, I don't know what is for me.
Oh my god.
Chris rates
Like
it
I
a
said, I think
9.9.
it's the best movie we watched on this podcast. I think it's extremely thought provoking, like to the point where like I think I'll be thinking about this movie for like literally like years from now.
Wait, Chris, have you
And-
given a 10 before?
I've never given
Oh,
a 10.
okay,
yeah.
here we
Is
go.
this in your
Oh my
top
God,
5
this
favorite
is
movies
better
ever
than
made?
It genuinely might be. You have to give me like at least a couple months to like fully like process it and like let it sink in. But I think it might be one of my like top 5.
Well, Chris,
movies all time.
we mentioned at the beginning whether or not we thought this would be the best movie that we watched so far, and I've decided I also think this is the best movie we've watched up until this point.
It's a good scale.
Yeah.
That's a good scale for John. Out of all of our
Yeah.
movies, where do you put it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
best one we watched. Yeah.
From I don't know what's the worst one on average? American Sniper or Possession to
American Sniper kind of got reduxed in the
yeah,
last
it did,
place.
yeah. Time has not been
Everything turned
kind to
out-
our review of that movie. Honestly, our review was not kind to it because we all said, "Oh, it was okay," and then just shit on it for 2 hours.
Shit on it for two.
I'm
I
s-
changed my own opinion on
I'm
it.
still consistent, so.
I changed
Anyway.
my own opinion on that movie.
Nate, do you want to go next?
Oh yeah, I apologize. Yeah, I mean, I'd obviously give this a 10 out of 10. I remember after I watched it, telling everyone that this is probably in my top 10 movies. After that, like, it's so good. I mean, I can't think of many places it fails at all. I mean, like, there's some like goofy plot holes, I guess, or like explaining the way shit works, but it doesn't need to. It's not like a big deal. I think it's more fun to talk about that way. Like, it works into the ambiguity of the movie. So I fucking love it. It's a great movie.
Nick,
And
your
it made me
first-
laugh a lot. Second
Second,
Second.
rating.
First live action movie rating. You cut me off.
they're all the
Yeah.
same.
I was not going to say that.
A movie's a movie.
A movie is a movie, yes.
Real movie.
I'm kind of with Chris on this one. I'd be hard struck not to give this a 10 from the beautiful cinematography to the story that touched on, it felt like it touched many different genres. Like we said earlier, it's just hard found to pick one specific genre for it. You got drama, comedy, everything from generational trauma, just every different subject matter you could think of pretty much. Made it feel very real in a movie, that's has non-real concepts. So I don't know. I liked it.
With an
Liked it a lot.
insane story.
Yeah, I would have to say I'm going to give this movie
Oh shit.
a 10.
Oh,
10 out of 10.
Is that your first 10? Like actual 10?
First legitimate 10.
So we basically all gave 10s except for
This
this
movie.
is definitely the statistically highest rated
This
movie,
is
I think.
this
so far.
is one of the best movies I've ever watched. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I think this movie handles the concept of nihilism perfectly.
True.
It is one of the best. Can't no complaints, dude. This movie's third act was so goddamn good. It tied up everything they set up in the first two acts.
I think
So
it's
was
also
phenomenal.
a good thing that like this movie doesn't knock any of the ideologies that it like presents. Like it looks at them all
It
very
presents-
maturely.
It presents nihilism honestly, and there are
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
reactions
that's a
that
good
people
word.
have to it.
It's your
And,
reaction to it.
it doesn't-
not
I've
what-
always
the-
it doesn't tell
consider-
you that one is wrong or the other. It's
The
just-
whole nothing matters at all and everything matters at once are both equally true, and it is up to you to
Yeah.
decide which one of
Yeah.
those you
Yeah.
live.
It's up
I
to you
would-
what you want to do with it. I think is
I
what this movie says more than
Yeah,
anything.
I would
Yeah.
consider myself an optimistic nihilist, and I think this movie like does a really good job of like
Shut up.
explaining exactly what that is.
Shut
What?
up.
I
wouldn't
would consider myself
to be an
a realist.
optimist.
I would consider myself a realist. Like, shut up. I
The gla-
took, I took,
The
I
glass
took
is half full. Cope and seed, you dorks. It's half full. I've decided it.
It's just half. Shut up. it's fucking half.
There is no
The
glass in my
is
universe.
always half full.
I threw away the
It's
glass.
just water.
I just have a handful of water.
This is
Winner
where
of the
our
wheel.
universe splits.
Let's go.
What the? Is that the googly rock? It was
It's gonna be
upside
me, dude. Rock Boy's on my
No,
side.
literally
it's
no
gonna be
chance
Nick.
this time.
It's gonna be
No,
Nick.
Oh my god, that's
on the line.
That's me.
It's Nate, yeah.
We're watching Blade Runner. It's time.
Let's
We have to watch it. We'll
Let's
watch the
go.
original first. Cole's
original
gonna
first.
suffer.
Yeah,
I'm
Let's
so
go,
excited
baby.
to watch this movie. Now I said I was picking it next. It had to happen.
Let's go, baby.
I'm the only one that seemed excited to watch this movie at all.
I've never
I'm
seen it, dude.
excited to
I'm very
revisit
excited.
it. I'm
How long
excited
for
to revisit
original?
it.
It is. It's long.
One
still. Like
million years.
1 million hours.
Perfect.
Is one of us gonna read the book too?
No.
I
Nick's
know.
got it.
I'm not reading the fucking book, but I
Well,
know.
you've already established
This is-
Nate can't read.
This is
You
not
said
reading,
I
buddies.
can't read. This is not reading.
Yeah,
buddies.
Nick
I
can't
agree.
read.
It is an hour and
I'll-
15 minutes. It's 2
I'll
hours.
read
That's
it to
that
Nate
might
while
not
he
be.
sleeps.
I should stress we have to watch the like directors, like the final cut of it, or else you're just not watching the real movie.
For
Like,
anyone out there listening that wants to watch it with us, where can we find this movie, Nate?
Yeah.
On Amazon Prime, it is currently on there. I do not.
Don't have
Looks
it.
like you have to pay for it. I hope you. That sucks, but hope you got some bands. Hope you got some
Yeah.
paper, some cheddar.
No
Get
paper.
your
We're
bread up.
not reading this.
And if this is if this is a
No
service
paper.
if this is a service
Use
issue
your
to you
card.
in your region, piracy is
Just
totally
pirate it,
ethical.
yeah.
So
That's good, like, pirate
Robert
our
J.
videos. I wouldn't blame
Movie
you.
did not invent the movie so that we could keep reading books.
Blade Runner, the final cut.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, you got to watch the. Is that the final? Like the like most.
Blade Runner. It's
There's like a
literally
version
about
that
me.
is.
Oh no, there's final cut, then there's the director's cut.
There's a
They
bunch
just
of
send
them.
a screenshot of the one that you're gonna watch.
I'm gonna have to Google which one's like the one you have to watch. Like
So
no, there's
final cuts an
there's
hour
only one that matters.
57.
It will be in our Discord, so if you want to know which one we watch, then you have to
Oh,
become a
you
you
film
have
friend.
to figure out how to get in our
Ooh,
Discord.
You have to
true.
go back in time and go to high school with us.
Filmfriends.gg. All right.
I'm super down for that. All right,
Yeah,
that was a good video, boys.
I liked it.
We'll see you
Great movie too.